Well, welcome back to Lucore Automotive Services. Today we're having one more session with this beautiful 67 Chevelle. Let's see if I can make the carburetor even better than the last time. I know I can because it still needs more fuel. And we're going to do that today. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to strap this thing down to the dyno. And I'm going to change the front jets, take them up 2 more sizes. I'm going to eliminate the secondaries so that we can get an accurate read on our front circuit on our carburetor. And then we will go forward from there. Gotta love that front end. They just don't make cars that look like that anymore. What a shame. Alright, so I'm going to make a pull. I upped my main jets to 85s because I didn't have 86s. And I actually opened up the backside. I found power valve looked wet, so I put a new power valve, same, it was a 3.5, which I feel is low. And I'm not familiar with power valves on vacuum secondaries because it was my understanding they're just supposed to be dumpers, but power valve would add a little extra really. But I ended up putting a spring in the back to eliminate hopefully eliminate the secondaries from opening up. I just want to tune the front side of the carb right now. So I'm going to make a pull with it, see what it does with the bigger jets, and let's see what it does. Let's make a run. It's not too bad on the front barrels. 340 at 5300 and 491 at 0.09. That was at the bottom. At the beginning, right at idle. Okay, so we get lean and we drop. So we need more fuel on our as we lay into it. We're gonna try a different pump cam and mix up the pump shot a little bit. My AFR is looking pretty good as far as my main jets are looking down the line, so I'm going to leave my mains where they're at. Let's play with the pump shot and pump cam a little bit, and we'll see what we can do about that. Alright, so I made one change. I went from the blue cam on 2 to a pink cam on 1. We're going to see what the differences are. And we're going to see if we can bring that lean spot down a little bit. It's making good power, but it's not safe power yet. So, let's make another pull. So, you can see I'm a lot better, but I still don't have enough fuel in this area. My horsepower actually increased. My torque decreased. But I made my max torque at 2600, which is better. My max horsepower 5100, which is good. So I still need to get that down. We're play with pump shot a little. Let's see if there's anything else I can do to get that bad boy down. But it's a step in the right direction. And this is only the primaries. So let's keep after it. Alright, so we're going to make another pull. I changed my pump shooter from a 50 to a 45. We will see if that increases the length of the pump shot and brings that high spot down. I'd expect it to be in, I don't know, 42 to 45, somewhere in that range. We'll see. I don't know if that's where this will end up being. But I think my mains are good for the primaries. And we got a much more linear power. We're getting closer. I'm still at a pink cam on slot 1. I'm not sure they say the pink cam's the most aggressive cam for street use. So I'm going to keep playing with that. We'll see. We might end up trying a couple different ones and seeing if we get better results. .345, 448. That's my last one. Oh, I pulled it from a higher RPM apparently. Red's my new one. It was actually better on the last one. Well, definitely have a spike we need to figure out, and that should be tip in. It caught up a lot faster. I'm going to make no changes, try and pull from 1600 like I did the previous times so that I can see what the graphs look like in that low area, see if they're the same or different. Well, that's pretty close to the 50, so I think I'm going to change my power valve and see if that makes a difference to that initial tip in, because the power valve is going to be a big part of that. Let's see what we need to do with that. Alright, so I made a power valve change from an 8.5 to a 7.5. We're going to see what that does to our graph, see if it drops that initial lean a little bit. I don't know, let's see what the graph tells us. Make much of a change. Let's take a look. So we're all pretty linear on those last 3 runs. The 7.5 power valve made less torque, more horsepower, not by much. It's negligible. We're pretty close. All of those runs were pretty similar. I got to figure out that tip in. It's almost got to be pump cam or shooter. So do we want to try a bigger shooter just to see what happens? And I already got a 45 in there and a 50. Let's close this out. Let's think about what we want to do on this. I'm thinking try a different pump cam, honestly. I don't think we need a bigger pump, like a 50cc pump, but I have one if we need to try it. So this would be a part throttle This would be a part throttle for engagement. And that pump shot looks kind of weak. I'm going to stick a diaphragm in it, see if it makes a change. Maybe it's not doing its job. Well, I'd say that guy's kind of worn out. Let's put a new one in and see if that gives us a solution to our tip-in lean. That would be nice. Alright, let's see if that gives us any improvements. New accelerator pump diaphragm and check valve. That's the only change. Alright, so the new accelerator pump diaphragm did not help. Did not make any better numbers. The fact is I'm above a 37 shooter, so according to Holly I need a 50cc accelerator pump. So I'm going to convert this to a 50cc pump, and then we'll see if that helps with our problem. It will certainly supply more fuel and quickly, so we'll try that next. Alright, we've got our new 50cc pump body installed. The old stamped arm gets replaced with this twice as big stamped arm. And we're going to go to a yellow or a brown cam, which is what comes with this kit. That guy doesn't look any different size than the old one, does it? So unless it's wider, the new one's wider than the old one. Check that, but if there's wear on that, obviously you would change it. This carb doesn't really have much wear on it. Alright, so I got a brown cam. The brown cam and yellow cam, I only use the number 2 position. I need to get my feeler gauge and check my accelerator pump clearances, but it's looking pretty good. I did go ahead and put new gaskets in between my metering block and the carb body and my bowl and my metering block, because I'm hoping this is the last time I have that front bowl off, and then we get to play with the back bowl. So let me grab my feeler gauge, I'll check my clearances there. We should be good, but that big pump and that much larger cam should give us what we need on that tip in. Fingers crossed. Wish me luck. Alright, so 50cc pump, brown cam, position 2. I think we're probably going to need a bigger pump shot, but I'm going to make a pull with just that change, and then we'll up our pump shot from the 40, I think I got a 45 in it. We'll go back up to the 50 and see what that does. Now my AFRs never get above 14.5. So let's see what we can do to improve that. Initial shot goes rich and then it leans out. I'm thinking a smaller, maybe a smaller pump shot to, or a smaller shooter to lengthen it out. Let's see what happens with that. Let's drop down to a 40. But that's a huge difference on my tip in with that pump cam over the last one. That was a huge difference. I wonder if the yellow one will be, I wonder if the yellow cam would be even better. Although I don't know. We'll play with the shooter size and see if we can get this to even out a little bit more. Let's try another shooter. So I went from a 45 shooter to a 40 shooter. Let's see how that works for us. That's got me to a good baseline on my primaries. I'm going to go ahead and open up the secondaries. So I'm going to take that second black spring out of the back, and we're going to see what this thing makes with both running, and see what kind of modifications I need to do to the backside, and we'll see what it needs. Now with the big pump cam and the 40 shooter, it really brought that initial drop down. And that's what it was before I put the big accelerator pump on it. So before I put the big accelerator pump and the brown cam on it, it was this green graph. That guy was way up there. So then we put the brown cam with the 50cc pump on it, and that brought it down. And then I took the 45 shooter out and I put the 40 shooter in, and it brought that down. So looking pretty good. I may actually need to go up a little more jet. So let's see what that does for us. Was not expecting that. And that's just the primaries. Now the rears had a 3.5 power valve and an 82 jet in it, and I'm not sure where I'm going to have to go with that, but we'll figure that out here soon. But it's looking pretty good. I took extra spring out of the secondaries. This is a stick shift car, so ideally it should be a mechanical secondary carburetor, not a vacuum secondary carburetor. They function better that way. But this is a heavier car, so it'll work, and it's a cruiser. It's not like this guy's going to the track and racing it all the time. So like on a race car, stick shift car, I would be doing a 1-to-1 or a synchronous carburetor linkage, so all four poles are opening at the same time and they'd be jetted exactly the same. If you know, for a street car with mechanical secondaries, it would be a progressive linkage, which is how they come out of the box usually. And then the jetting on that is what it needs. But this one's getting really close. I'm probably going to add a little more jet to it because I can stand to see the AFRs down a little bit more under full throttle. So we always like to err on the side of safe, and it won't make as much power that way, but it will last longer and it will be a safe, drivable engine that doesn't self-destruct. I know this stuff isn't very exciting, but this is dyno testing at its best. It's not always the one pull and yay, we made huge numbers. And we're not here to make huge numbers today, we're here to make safe numbers. The blue line is the last run where I still had the secondaries with an extra spring in it to help hold them shut. I honestly don't know if they were staying shut. I would assume they were because most vehicles can't pull open a black spring, let alone two of them in there. But that was my idea, to see if I could tune the fronts easier. The red lines with the secondaries open, you can see it leaned out, probably right about where the secondaries kicked in. And then it stayed pretty good. So I'm actually going to upjet my mains one more tick. And I may actually end up upping my secondaries a tick as well. We'll see what happens when I add to the primaries. Alright, well, I just upped my jets from the 85s I had in it to 87s. We're going to make the pull, see what it looks like. I think it's going to bring my graph down as a whole. And we'll see where we go from there. It's all trial and error. Take it the way you like it. I'm sure there's a bunch of you guys out there who know way more about this stuff than I do. I am, full disclosure, I am learning how to do this stuff as I go. And seeing good results. So I'm just going to continue reading the information that's available and making the changes as I see fit until I see the graphs where I need to see them. That's the beauty of the chassis dyno. I can strap the car down, make changes, see viable changes instead of just, you know, my butt dyno. I can physically see them on graphs. I can figure out what I needed to decipher from that and make progress from there. It's nice being able to just strap it down and not be barreling down the road doing this stuff. So works out pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie, I like it. Let's make it pull. You can see my last two pulls I actually upjetted, which brought me down closer to the 12.5 range. I've still got this weird lean area in the part throttle, or the mid-range, but I'm way safer than when I came in, and I'm up about 25 horsepower from where I was when I came in. My torque's not as much, but I'm not running as lean because it was hitting the torque way at the beginning. So let's see what we can do to clean that up a little bit. What's the next step, guys? What would you do? I'm actually gonna open up the secondary mains a little bit, but I'm also gonna try the yellow cam. So let's try the yellow cam, see what that does for the pump shot. It's gonna make a huge difference in here. It's probably going to go rich and hopefully stay, and then we may have to, I don't know what the yellow cam's going to do. I'm not even going to speculate because I don't know. Let's find out. Let's put a yellow cam in it and see. I'm actually also going to throw 2 more degrees of timing into it because I'm only running at 34. I can safely do 36 without a problem. I don't have any laboring at startup. There's other things I can do to have more timing in the beginning, but this is a street car. We want it to start easy. So let me bump the timing up 2 ticks, put a yellow cam on it, we'll make a pull. We're going to try that. I just turned the brown cam around because I think I had it in upside down because I have it on the 2, but it says 1 on it. Yellow cam I think only goes in one way. I didn't think you could put the brown cam on wrong. Let's see what that does to our graph. And then we'll throw 2 more degrees of timing. So my grass smoothed out, but I'm still going too lean, so I'm gonna probably go to a smaller pump shooter yet. Pop down to like a 38 and see what that does. Draw it out a little longer. Let's see what that does. I got a dyno error. That sucks. What's that mean? Oh! Alright, I think I have that resolved. The computer or the sensors thought they saw movement on the link belt system. So it was a sensor error. I reset it, rebooted everything, so let's try this again. This is where it gets confusing and you have to write all this stuff down because you have done so many different changes through the day that you forget where you're at. I wonder if this thing's moving the roller up front. I strap it down a little more in the back and see if I can get this. This wasn't happening earlier, so I must be making more power. Alright, so all my straps in the back have stretched a little bit, so I got a couple clicks into all of those. We'll see if that eliminates this fault from happening on our dyno. And we'll make this same pull again for 2 degrees more timing after the brown cam changed. And the brown cam change picked us up 8 horsepower. That was a lot. No, I haven't fixed it yet. Still working on it. So 361, 470. That's the run with 2 degrees less timing was actually 372, 499. So we made 20 foot-pounds more torque, but 10 less horsepower with 2 degrees more timing. I think I'm going to throw a smaller squirter in it and draw that out a little more. See if it will bring this up and bring that down. Let's see what it does. Didn't change it that much, but it's better. Still a little lean over here. But that's just for a momentary pause. I don't know. I think we're moving forward though. This thing sounds amazing. So I took the brown cam out. I'm going to try the pink cam and see if that gets rid of our initial peak. And see what it does to horsepower and torque. Because why not? You got it on the rack, might as well try it. Such a good car. that does it for that girl. He's a little scared to drive it out of here. It went sideways on him the last time he took it, and I just gave him another 40 horsepower to play with. That car is absolutely fabulous. I'll pull up the sheet of my final data. I think it was, I don't remember. I can't remember all the numbers I looked at today. Anyway, hang on a second. Well, we're going to call it 370 and 460 on that car as it sits with an 870 CFM vacuum secondary carburetor. Being a stick shift, it really should be a mechanical secondary or double pumper. But it is what it is, you know. It'll be a great cruiser. It won't be as horrible on fuel. It's going to be horrible on fuel because it's a 502. It's just going to eat. But it's an absolutely fabulous car. Very, very grateful to that gentleman for letting me tune his car, play with it on the dyno, learn more about the dyno, learn more about the carburetors and how they act and react. Made a lot of good headway on it. There's still a little bit of room for improvement on that one, but at least it's safe and drivable, and it's honestly probably got more power than you can really utilize in that car. At least for a cruiser, you don't want to kill that car. So I don't think he's going to be out doing burnouts and driving it sideways at any rate. Thanks for watching, guys. Click like, subscribe, leave us a comment below. Have a great day.